Upon further reflection, what I realized is this, that some of the pain that I felt in the EB1 journey, I don't think somebody who went through the EB1 journey when they were from Portugal, or they were from France, or they're from Colombia, or they're from Brazil, heck, if they were from Papua New Guinea, even faced, that I faced as an Indian individual. And I'm talking from the perspective of being an Indian, being a female, and growing up in kind of like a traditionally household where education was heralded as the biggest thing in my life. The first cultural barrier that I had to deal with, and in no way am I insinuating that they were bad. What I'm suggesting is they became unique barriers when it came to EB1. The first such barrier was this pressure that I was putting on myself that I have to get it right, that EB1 has to be right on the first go. And how could you not blame me for this? Because I grew up in an environment where a simple mistake could lead to dire consequences. So, for example, in my class 10 and class 12 board exams, I remember checking my bag to make sure that my admit card was inside. For OGs, you know what admit card is. I had to ensure that my admit card was there, because if I did not have that admit card, it was like passport in an airport. That if you do not have your passport slash admit card, however well prepared you are for the exam, you're not going to be able to take it. And when I became a professor, here I had students telling me that, oh, professor, I could not come and take the test because I was sick. I was like, excuse me? I, it was unfathomable for me to pull something off like that and think that it's okay. Because I grew up in an environment where it was make or break. You get one shot, like that Eminem song, one shot, one opportunity. It's like lose yourself in the music the moment. Every single thing in my life is a sangharsh. So if I did not get it right the first time, I thought that that's it, I'm going to be a failure. That is not true in the EB1 world. You can fail in EB1. One of the hypotheses, and this is why I think, and this is my hypothesis, I could be wrong, why people have this belief that, hey, if I apply for EB1 and I fail, will my EB2 get jeopardized? Because they think that it has a bleeding effect in EB2. It does not. You can apply for EB1 and fail, apply for EB1 and fail, apply for EB1 and fail again. And at the third attempt, you can get your EB1 approved. I know people who have done that. But we do not give ourselves, or I did not give myself that breathing space to fail. And that's why the pressure that I put on myself was so heavy that I had to get it right the first time. You don't have to get it right the first time. You can fail. And the only dire circumstance that you have to go through is, yeah, the monetary loss is there, the psychological loss is there. And there are folk theories that USCIS officers may look at the case that was previously filed, but I'm yet to hear from any immigration attorney or USCIS officers who have had the opportunity to talk to who will say that I will punish this person because they have failed once. That mindset, that toxic mindset, bled from that cultural programming that I grew up with into this context. So, this is just one example of some of those cultural beliefs that I'm not telling you did, because I don't want you to come to my throat and say, but you cannot talk about all Indians. I'm not talking about all Indians. I'm talking about myself. How can I talk about all Indians? The sample size is a billion. I am one, that too 5 feet. I'm not representative at all. But what I'm saying is, I made this journey harder for myself than it needed to be because of all of these invisible cultural programmings that I had in my mind. So I pose this question to you as well, that I wonder what kind of these cultural programmings or these invisible scripts that you have about life circumstances that could be making EB1 harder than it really needs to be. Because if that programming is fucked, You cannot undo that by just clobbering more achievements. You have to reset your mind first. That is the operating system over here. The machine is not going to run correctly if the operating system is screwed up. So sit down and reflect that why does this feel so heavy? It doesn't need to be this heavy.